Hello and welcome back to Have Your Say. Today we continue our discussion with Kenneth Schultz, who is the author of this wonderful book called, it's got 3 titles, but the main title is Western Civilization Under Siege. In this part of this episode, we got 2 very important topics. The first one, both of them is connected to the danger of Western civilization. But the first one is something which I, and probably most of the people never even heard of, but don't treating it as a serious threat because they don't know what it is. And according to you and in your book, that threat is EMP. Is EMP another member of parliament? Or what EMPs mean? Because I can understand if we are under threat from some of the members of parliament, because that is definitely against us sometimes. But explain us, what EMP as a threat for Western civilization?
EMP stands for electromagnetic pulse.
Yes.
And it seems quite disconnected to what we've been talking about, but my book does round up the various threats, and they're not all necessarily connected. And this one is a little bit of a standalone, an outlier, if you like, but it is a serious threat now. Electromagnetic pulse.
So electromagnetic pulse as a threat for our life. So that sounds technical, and everyone knows electricity because we're using it. So we think this is a great benefit for Western civilization, have electricity, apart from the thing we have to pay through the nose for electricity these days, which makes lots of money and print money for lots of companies, mainly multinational, and lots of French companies. But what electromagnetic pulse is and how does it endanger us?
Well, electromagnetic pulse is generated from a nuclear explosion.
Yes.
All nuclear explosions also put out a lot of gamma radiation. But electromagnetic pulse, to work as the way it's designed, has to be exploded high in the atmosphere, and the nuclear part of that will not affect people directly on the ground because it's so far away. The only way you'll know that it's happened is as a flash, and then all electronics disappear. So when it's set off high in the atmosphere...
So you're talking about a nuclear explosion?
A nuclear explosion, yes, a nuclear bomb.
Somewhere in a nuclear bomb exploding, not necessarily, 500 meters above our heads, but
40, 50, 100 kilometers
above us, exploding, and then we're going to have an electromagnetic pulse.
Yeah, well, the gamma rays that emanate from the device...
the gamma rays,
gamma rays react with the electrons in the upper atmosphere, and together they produce this massive electromagnetic pulse, could run into millions of volts, and as it comes down to Earth, it's going to react with all the electronics, all the modern technology that we so depend upon, and it will zap a lot of your electronics. Your phones will stop working, your cars might stop working.
So that's not necessarily killing the living beings like humans or animals, but killing all
electronics that we so rely on. So you're no longer...
So we're not going to have electricity, in other words?
No, because part of that is when that pulse comes down, the long transmission lines attached to the electricity grid act as antennas to pick up and amplify the signal, and that could knock out all of those big special transformers.
Yes.
And that could take weeks, months, or even years to replace some of those transformers. So you're going to be without electricity, perhaps, for a long period of time.
So you said another serious threat for the Western civilization is Islam.
Yes.
Now, how can be religion is a threat for the Western civilization, which is teaching us for freedom of religion?
We may believe in freedom of religion. Islam does not believe in freedom of religion unless that religion is Islam. There's a vast difference, and you might refer it to it as a religion, but it's really a totalitarian system which under their Sharia law guides every aspect of a Muslim's life from cradle to the grave. Their marriage, their finances, everything they do
So it's a moral teaching. The religion is governing the life of the human beings who believe in that God and follow the religion.
Yes.
But all the religion is based on sort of human lessons and on moral teachings. So why Islam is more dangerous than Christianity or Judaism, which is also based on moral teaching, and you got the Ten Commandments, you got all those basic moral teachings, which we wish we live our life following that, but probably 70–80% of the society is not following it anyway.
But
so
the difference
why?
is that
Yes,
Christianity is not a totalitarian system. It is a moral system.
yes.
But Islam is a totalitarian system. There's vast difference between the two. And the real problem with it is that, according to Muhammad and his immediate followers, the only way that there will be peace on earth is if the whole world is Muslim. And therefore it behoves every Muslim to engage in jihad to bring about Islam throughout the world. And we've had 1,400
That's the
years.
only religion, you mean?
It's the only religion, and the only God that they know about is Allah. And Allah has decreed, according to Muhammad, that the whole world must be Muslim to bring about peace, and you will engage in jihad, and whatever that means, to bring about that. So we've had 1,400 years of wars, invasion, conquest, beheadings, brutality. That's what Islam is about, and they still, now they're doing it more so than ever. They're going back to the fundamentals, and the fundamentals are what Muhammad said, that you must make the whole world Muslim.
Instead of Christian, Buddhist, or other things. But how do they envisage to make the whole world Muslim? I mean, I understand the basic teaching. It's got some logic in it. If everyone is a Muslim, you, me, and all of our neighbors and every country, then we not have enemies. Because we're all Muslims and we love the same God and we are all say Allah Akbar. Allah is the greatest. So theoretically, that eliminates the wars. However, what we're experiencing in the 21st century and part of the 20th century, the Muslims fight with Muslims.
That's true.
So how the heck peace comes with Muslim religion all over the world? Today is, thanks God, it's not all over the world, but as I said, Muslim fights with Muslim.
That's right.
So how can we have peace following the
We
simple...
can't. I'm saying that's what Muhammad taught.
Yes.
And the first
yes.
three caliphs taught.
But seems to me no one is listening to Muhammad teachings.
Well, unfortunately, right at that very start, there was a big kerfuffle over who was going to succeed Muhammad. And
Muhammad was a prophet.
he
Muhammad
called
is not
himself a prophet or
He
a
is not a
messenger of
god,
Allah.
of course. He's just a messenger of Allah.
But he
Yes.
didn't make any arrangement for his succession. So there was a fight. The first fight started at his death.
Yes.
And there was two people contesting who was going to be the next prophet or the successor to Muhammad. And most of them chose a man called Abu Bakr. But there was another group of people who wanted his nephew, Muhammad's nephew, Ali, to be the next leader of them.
Of
And
the Muslims,
those
yes.
people formed a Shia branch, and the others formed the Sunni. And they've been at war with each other ever since. That's why the Muslim fights Muslim.
But we got not just Shiites and
Sunnis.
we got other parts of
Yes,
Muslims and
yeah.
other two, at least.
There's various other branches or strains.
Yes.
One of the most important strains is the Salafist. Salafism is a philosophy rather than a particular branch, and that goes back, meaning ancient or where it comes from, and they're going back to fundamentalism. What did Muhammad say, do, and what did he want?
Pure following of Muhammad.
Yes.
So
they
yes.
want to go back to his teachings, and a lot of the terrorists in the 21st century are Salafists.
So do you think those different fractions can make peace with each other to beat the West, or we're not really in danger because until they're fighting with each other, we can use our moral practice to divide and conquer, which the Americans and the British used anyway in the 19th and 20th century when they dealt with the Muslim nations.
I don't think so.
Speaking,
they still all believe in jihad and making the world Muslim. They'll sort out, if it becomes worldwide Islam, they'll sort out the differences amongst themselves, but it'll be too late for us.
Understand. So that's where the threat is coming from.
That's where the threat is
So
coming.
the basic teaching of Muslim is to fight
and conquer the world.
and conquer the world.
World.
Fight
That is
against the people who are not prepared to follow Islam.
That's right.
However, as we know from the history of the 1,400 years of short history of Islam, you know, they got different solutions for the people who are not devoting themselves into.
They got solutions, all right, and it's called beheading.
One of them beheading, so dying. Another is enslaving.
Yes.
Then the other is paying taxes.
Pay the jizya, which is a tax to live under Muslim rule for
Yes.
non-Muslims.
Non-Muslim. So
Yes, you can do that
so
if you
we-
want to sit around and wait till the world is conquered. If you've got some money and you can pay the jizya, they'll let you live more or less in peace. But you still have to be subservient to your
that.
Muslim overlords.
to the religion and
Yeah,
to
and to the
their
Muslims
leaders.
themselves.
So that is a real danger as you see it
Yeah.
for the Western world. I think the next 3 episodes we're going into a little bit deeper for at least 2 of these dangers. And the end, episode 4, we will explore your suggestions how to save the Western world.
That's right.
On that note, we have to go because time is over for this episode. But please come back next week, same time, same channel. Have your say.